This is CBS 11 News at 5, the ones for Texas.
The price of materials and labor for good, skilled laborers is gone up, doubled in some instances.
Too much of a good thing. Why the North Texas building boom is making it now a little difficult to get a new home or even to renovate the one you're in. New complications for anybody out there wanting a new home or even to make repairs to the one you're living in now. We'll dive into how hiring workers has gotten so much more expensive. New at 5 o'clock, it's getting more complicated to build a new home or even renovate an existing one.
The North Texas building boom is turning into a building crunch. It's more difficult to find good workers, and as our Ken Molesina found out, it's getting much more expensive, too.
You know, almost everywhere you look across DFW, you're going to come across a site like this. It's not hard to find a construction project, but according to industry insiders, what is difficult is finding the proper manpower to get all this work done.
Some people come and they're like, we want to start tomorrow, and I say, well, I can't help you.
Stephan Sardone owns his construction company, and like many other builders,
But yeah, check the rest and pull our shims out.
he's having a tough time finding skilled workers to keep up with the construction demand.
It's one thing to have a few jobs. It's another to have so much work that you're really not able to get to all of it.
Specifically, he says there just aren't enough specialized workers like framers, plumbers, drywallers, and carpenters. People like Brian McLean, who understandably
I stay busy quite a bit.
are working nonstop to alleviate the shortage.
I'm trying to right now train my helpers to be able to do what I can do.
The lack of workers is leading to a twofold problem across North Texas. For one, as demands rise, project completion times are taking longer.
It's typical to see an average new home take about 4 months to get constructed. Today it's taking closer to 7 months.
And that's not all. According to Ted Wilson from Residential Strategies, the price to build is also increasing. The cost is then passed on to you, the buyer.
We've seen direct costs go up about 30 to 35%. If we didn't have this construction trade issue, we would probably be starting about 35,000 houses.
As for why the shortage,
There's no trade schools really, so to speak of. There's no real licensure system in the state of Texas for our type of work.
for all those waiting in line during this construction boom, builders like Sardone say the key
What I tell people is be patient.
is to manage expectations early. In Dallas, Ken Molesina, CBS 11 News.
Too much work and not enough workers. Construction companies say a shortage of skilled tradesmen is putting a speed bump in the North Texas building boom. Ken Molesina here now to explain what it means, especially if you're in the market.
Yeah, this has created quite the problem. Essentially, here's what's going on. This trend is now leading to longer project completion times, and perhaps the one that hurts the most is a higher cost of housing. Construction industry insiders are reporting they are specifically in need of specialized workers, people like framers, plumbers, carpenters, for example. With all the demand for construction jobs across the Metroplex, there just aren't enough of them to go around. In turn, that means the price for their labor is also rising, and those costs are being passed on to you, the consumer. Construction experts say the lack of manpower drove costs up to 35% recently. And as you'd imagine, that also means a home that would typically be built in 4 months is now taking about 7 months.
The different subcontractors are working hard to train and to bring people back into the system, but the reality is that it's just it's a slow process.
Well, the lack of workers is being blamed on not enough training available for trade businesses, and obviously the pace of construction is just too hard for them to keep up with. The only solution right now, according to industry insiders, is for the construction demand to decrease, but there are no signs right now that it will.
Some people come and they're like, we want to start tomorrow, and I say, well, I can't help you, and it's really not possible.
A housing boom is a good thing, right? Well, maybe not for you. There aren't enough skilled framers, apparently, plumbers, drywallers, and carpenters to actually do all the work in North Texas right now. Builders say that means if you want to build or renovate, it's going to cost you more, and it's going to take longer to complete.
It's typical to see an average new home take about 4 months to get constructed. Today it's taking closer to 7 months. Over the last 5 years, we've seen direct costs go up about 30 to 35%, depending on who the builders are.
Experts say there are no real trade schools or licensing operations in Texas for construction workers, so it's up to experienced workers to train others.